Good afternoon. Welcome to Johnson Haygood Stadium for today's press conference. The Citadel will travel to Furman on Saturday, October 25th for a 2 o'clock game against the Paladins. They are at Paladin Stadium in Greenville. We have with us Coach Drayton to talk about the game.
All right. Good afternoon. Thank everybody for being here. Saturday's loss to Western Carolina was a tough one. There's no way around it. I'm just going to be honest. As a program, we're disappointed. Our players are hurting. Our staff is hurting. But I told them that kind of disappointment can be a teacher, and we intend to learn from it. That said, we don't do moral victories. I want to be crystal clear on that. We don't believe in moral victories. Competing hard isn't enough. Coming close isn't enough. Winning is what matters. That's how we're judged. That's how we pay our mortgage. And to win, we have to continue to grow. So that's where we're challenging this team. Now that starts with our mindset, but it also includes something specific. Our football IQ. I talk about that often, FBI. In order to win consistently, we've got to move from 201, 202 level courses and an understanding of the game, and we have to operate at a 300 level. That's the difference between an average team and a good team on your way to trying to be great. That means we have to have better situational awareness. That means we have to have sharper execution. That means we have to have a deeper understanding of how and what we do, when we do it. That growth, that has to happen now. We don't want to wait on it. I was telling Andrew that I wish we were in a I could put us in a microwave, 30 seconds, doop, 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 and then we're ready to go. So what we've been talking about an attack mindset, attitude, togetherness, toughness, accountability, character, and knowledge. Now, those aren't just words. We have to live by that. We have to train like that if we're going to get to where we want to be. Culture is not a slogan. Culture drives behavior, and behavior drives results. We believe in what we're building here, so we're going to stay the course. All right, our coaches are grinding, our players are fighting, and despite the setback, we're not backing down. We're going to respond together. And now, our attention shifts. It shifts to the Citadel versus Furman. This is a rivalry game that runs deep. Let me say it here clearly, proudly, and boldly with my chest. This is for all the old alumni. Purple makes me puke, and it will all week. All right? This game is about pride. It's about tradition. It's about representing this institution the right way. We're looking forward to the opportunity to fight together once again. We're looking forward to fight as one and to show our toughness, our unity, and resolve. We want to show that to our alumni and our supporters. So as always, we thank the Citadel family for supporting us. We thank you for your passion, your support. We feel it. We value it. And we're going to keep everything that you're giving us and unleash it on Saturday. So for that, I'll take questions at this time.
You just mentioned culture a little bit. Where do you assess where this culture has changed for this program since you've taken over?
Yes, this culture, just one aspect, when we take the field of play, and it was one of the biggest things we had to do, and I talked about it at the beginning of the season, that the belief that we can win. I'll definitely say year one, I don't know that our team believed that they could win. Year two, we had flickers and sparks of that. And now year three, every time we take the field, regardless of the results that have been yielded, there is an expectation to win.
Going off that and going off your opening statement, obviously you played to win the game, but what about positives? What about good takeaways from Saturday?
Yes, so there's always good takeaways. Defensively, right now, as a season, we have 24 hits on a quarterback. Last year, we only had 14 all season. We have surpassed our sack mark. defensively. Rush yards that we give up defensively, we average 137, where last year it was 158. So I could go through each statistical category on defense, offense, special teams, and we have improved, but we want to improve in that very first column, that win-loss. So while I am saying things positive, I want to talk about the offense. The offense went and scored on 6 out of 11 drives, which that's huge when you do that. Our first down efficiency was the same as the previous week at 55%. We want to get that up, but it's still better. We were 5 for 5 in the red zone. We were 3 for 3 on fourth down. It's our second 400-yard total offensive output game this year, and we can continue on, but those are some of the positives.
Just curious, you may have answered this in previous years. Does the SoCon allow you to send in calls, maybe to the league office, for you to get some explanation?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked that question. I wouldn't have voluntarily said that. Each week, we send in calls. One thing we pride ourselves on is being a rules expert. Our staff, Tony Coaxum, Zane Vance, the three of us, we dig at the details on rules, understand the rules. We feel like we know the rules very well, and we send calls in each week, and we are batting in a definite win percentage. I'll get you that exact number because I asked Tony for that stat this morning. What is our batting average? I would venture to say we're about 90% of all the calls we turn in that should have been called, that was called and should not have been called. But I do understand this. Officials are human beings, and we will always treat them with grace and respect. I feel like we have a good relationship with the officials, but to answer your question, we turn them in every week.
With that, I mean, after this point, you're like, the game already happened. Do y'all take any, validation when you get, like you said, positive feedback from that, or is it almost worse?
Well, it's both, but it's great for our young men to know because we use this as a teaching tool. One of the things we do, we teach during the week based upon the officials. I study the officials each week. If there's an official that's high in DPI, defensive pass interference, and I look at where he's calling it and how he's calling it, then we'll teach to our defensive backs, hey, you can't be grabby here, you can be grabby, below at the start of the route, etc. So we do that across the board at various spots, and it's just something that I was able to pick up in the NFL, and it has helped us. And we will continue. It's sort of like going to college. You have to learn what the professor wants, right? And you give the professor what they want. It's no different than officials. Know how the officials call in the game and then operate in that mindset. So for me, that's that 300 level that I'm talking about. Really, that's 302 going into a 400 level course, but that's what we're trying to get to.
I know after Valdosta State, Mikey Rose even said it, that you told them you left meat on the bone. I know with Western you didn't win, but did you see improvement in that area in terms of the fight, finish, any of that?
There were aspects where there was improvement, but there were other aspects where we just, quite frankly, we have to get better, and that's from all levels, my chair, coach's chair, as well as the support staff and the players' chair.
Going off that, it may be just the football IQ. I mean, you've gotten off to better starts lately. You finished drives lately. With football IQ, is there something else that kind of y'all need to maybe work on more now than you've gotten the finishing and you've gotten off to the good starts?
Well, you always have to have the execution component. The other thing is we cannot allow our guys to forget the basics. Like in our teaching methodology, it's a conceptual base, right? So you have to have the foundation before we can continue to build, and that's where we are. So we got to find that happy medium of still hitting our bases, still hitting our fundamentals, making sure that they understand that so that they can, when the dots move, because the chalkboard is one thing, but when the dots move, being able to apply the concept and make the adjustment in real time, that's our maturation process that we're chipping away at.
At the beginning of the year, you said if you had two quarterbacks, you didn't have one quarterback. Well, the two quarterback system seems to be working for you guys now. What makes it work between these two guys?
The two human beings. It really is. I still kind of stand by that. As I looked across my career, typically if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one because human beings are just that, human beings, and they don't get along. But these two guys, they get along very, very well. It doesn't matter who we trot out on the field first. The other one is right there supporting his teammate. Yeah, it's part of the culture. We spoke about culture that we're trying to build. We want to be in love with each other, be in love with our teammates, and this team is in love with one another, and that's why they're doing the harder right than the easier wrong.
Is there a feeling you get putting one guy in over the other, just in situationals, like second, third, fourth quarter, or is it you going with a hot hand, or what is it?
It's a little bit of both. So whoever trots out there first is based upon the body of work during the week. With the other one knowing that, hey, you're going to go in on whatever series we designate going into that game based upon, what we're seeing. There are some slight subtleties where they're different in a regard, and we utilize that quarterback in that situation. So that's for our opponent to go and figure that out when we're using them and why. But it's also the hot hand as well, too.
Looking at the Paladins, tough loss Saturday against Wofford. What have you seen out of Furman heading into Saturday?
You always throw the records out of the window when you're playing Furman. Now, I will say this. Furman has beat us 64 times. We've only won 37. All right, so in order for this thing to be a true rivalry, we got to win more games. But I always like this week. I like the history of the Paladins. The 12 Knights of Charlemagne's Court, right? That's the Paladins. The school's former names, the Academy of Theological Institution, Furman Theological Institution, Furman Institution. It was named after a Baptist pastor, Richard Furman. They played their first game in 1889. We've been playing football a long time. When I think about notable alumnus from Furman, I think about my good friend Billy Napier. I think about the founder of Frito-Lay's potato chips. I think about David C. Garnett, the CEO of Delta Airlines. So this is a rich program, rich history, and it's led by one of the finest men in coaching, in my opinion, Clay Hendricks, who happens to be a graduate, class of '86, who won a national championship. So when I turn on the film and I look at Furman, I see all that history first, right? I understand the history of Furman. And then when I look at today's team, they have 117 guys on their roster. They have 14 transfers in their program that are playing. And they have a quarterback that can really sling the ball. He can throw the rock. They got some good pieces on the perimeter. Feel really good about their running backs. And they have some really, really big linemen. This team was hot at one time, and they took a step backwards this past week. So I expect nothing but the best Furman Paladin football team this coming Saturday. They're going to be ready to rock and roll.
I think they threw, 3 interceptions against Wofford?
Yes, which is uncharacteristic.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't really expect that, but what do you think your defense is expecting? A different offense, or how do you all prepare for that, or go off what you saw against Wofford?
No, it's going to be the offense that was on film. Wofford's on scholarship too, and they have played really good ball this year. They just haven't got over the threshold to get wins. So that's secretly, that's a really good football team coached by Sean Watson. They do a good job. So to answer your question, I think it will be the same Furman offense. They just have to execute more, execute faster in certain instances. So it's going to be a really, really good ball game, and it's going to go down to the wire.
when you look at some of the quarterback play, especially on the option plays, there looked like to me, and again, I'm a layman, sitting up in the press box, it looked like a couple times they could have pitched the ball. Do you see that going back over the film, that there were opportunities there for maybe bigger plays, or am I just seeing things?
Absolutely. So first of all, you're not just a layman, right? You understand football. You're right. And those were coaching points in the game as well as in our film sessions on Sunday. We have to execute the play all the way out, and it would yield bigger results. You saw that the right way.
I wasn't going to ask you this, but since you mentioned him, when you see things that happen to Billy Napier like this weekend, have you talked to him, and kind of how do you process that stuff?
No, typically what we do in this profession, we just send a text, hey, praying for you, hey, keep your head up. But when things like that happen in this profession, a lot of times the head guys, you don't worry about them too much. They're going to be okay. I worry about the assistant coaches. You worry about the wives. You worry about the children. That's who really feel it. So, but we all signed up for it. We know what we're getting ourselves into.
Did you work within the state?
No. It's a funny path how I got to State. So Billy was at State. Billy leaves State, goes to Clemson. That opened up a spot for Tony Elliott. So Tony Elliott goes to State. All right, I'm at Goose Creek High School at the time. Tony leaves State to go to Furman, and that opened up the slot where I replaced Tony at South Carolina State. So we just kind of followed each other's career.
6 degrees of separation.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Perfect, Coach. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.